There was a rock music festival scheduled this weekend at Powder Ridge near Middlefield, Connecticut, but the courts ordered it canceled and it'll not be held. But today, young people continued showing up anyway and seemed intent on staying. Even though there is no music and won't be, Powder Ridge seems to have become a kind of outdoor folk ritual or puberty rite and a social scene offering a variety of fun and games.
There was so much coming and going in the Powder Ridge area today, it was difficult to tell whether the rock festival was beginning or ending. All roads to the ski resort were still blockaded, and only town residents were allowed to pass. Any cars parked on the highways were simply towed away. The young people had a problem, to stay or to go. Most of them had no place to go, so they stayed. But living wasn't easy, and worse, there was nothing to do. It was boring. It's a quiet festival, more like an overcrowded country picnic. The general feeling among the young people here is that the rock festival never should have been banned, but even more interesting is the fact that many of the state policemen agree with them. During the past couple of days, several of the troopers have been heard to remark, you know, they're really a nice bunch of kids. One self-styled hippie heard about the remark and said, you know, those straight guys aren't so bad. This is Liz Trotta, NBC News at Powder Ridge.
Another outdoor rock festival in Canada in a field east of Quebec, and so far the courts have let it alone. But the police have taken over a schoolhouse nearby and turned it into a command post, covering the blackboards with maps, charts, and operating plans in case they are needed. And in Los Angeles,
Charles Manson, described today by the star witness against him as the Messiah come again, the second coming of Christ. Linda Kasabian, who earlier had accused Manson of masterminding 7 murders, revealed that she thought Manson was Christ, that he generated love and pure truth, and that she had been in love with him. Defense attorney Paul Fitzgerald said, "Isn't it true Manson didn't care to have you near him?" There was no direct response to this first move by the defense to show that Mrs. Kasabian is testifying against Manson because he scorned her. At one point, prosecutor Vincent Bugliosi objected heatedly that Manson was coaching the defense attorney and that the jury could hear him. The jury was told to ignore Manson. Through the day, Mrs. Kasabian detailed her nomadic hippie life in 11 communes in 3 years, of indiscriminate sex, abundant drug use, and a search, she said, for love. Don Oliver, NBC News, Los Angeles.
The kind of hippie living that Mrs. Kasabian talked about has been part of the Berkeley scene for several years. Now the police there are trying to clean out Berkeley's crash pads, and particularly to rid the city of the teenagers who flock to them looking for thrills.
For the young, Berkeley is where it's at, so they come here from all over the world. They travel light. Many are runaways, some as young as 10 and 11. On the surface, it's a carefree scene. But in the crash pads, vacant houses taken over by the young nomads, it's often a different story. In this house, 3 teenage girls were drugged and assaulted by 5 men for 3 days. The girls were rescued by Berkeley police as part of a new crackdown on the city's summer population, a crackdown prompted by similar cases. Those over 18 are shown the city limits. Minors are picked up, their parents notified, and if the parents want them back, the youngsters are shipped home. Authorities say most of the runaways come from white middle-class families. More than 300 have been arrested so far, but hundreds more arrive every week. Tom Brokaw, NBC News, reporting.